Season 3, Episode 5 of Black Mirror. This one's called Men Against Fire. It's another one written by the series creator, Charlie Brooker. It's actually directed by Jacob Verbruggen, who directed episodes of House of Cards, the Twilight Zone episode 6 Degrees of Freedom, and London Spy. And this is an action-packed episode. We'll get episodes like this that take place in the near future. They never tell us exactly what time period, but it looks to be about 30 to 40 years in the future. And it's one of Black Mirror's more political episodes with a moral compass that's easy to understand. It's very clear the intention of this episode about how you should think for yourself and being a commentary on authoritarian governments. And the main character in this episode is Stripe. He's a young soldier who's participating in a campaign to exterminate these humanoid creatures known as roaches. Now, he's told these roaches are evil. He's told these roaches are terrible. And when he confronts them in these action scenes, they do look like horrifying creatures to him. But the question is his perception reality? Or is there maybe something that's making him see these innocent creatures as horrible monstrosities? Stripe is played by Malachi Kirby, who's in the 2016 Roots remake, and even won a British Academy of Film and Arts Award for his role in Small Axe Mangrove, which apparently is a British anthology series. Might have to put that one on the board to cover at some point. Always running across anthology shows. There's so many of them. Also, I don't think I said that right. Let me try that again. He won a British Academy of Film and Arts Award for Small Axe Mangrove. There, that's better. So these roaches that he runs into are portrayed as these feral, deformed, violent beings that are just out there to kill humans. And the soldiers are equipped with a neural implant, it's literally in your brain, called MASS. It stands for Military Autonomous Signal System. And it not only helps them fight by enhancing their senses, tactical awareness, and even regulates their emotions for the women as well during these combat situations, but it also makes them view the roaches as something that they really aren't. Because we learn later in the episode, these roaches are just human beings, just like you and I. They're not these horrible creatures. And it's really this implant that the military is putting into these people's brains that makes them view these quote-unquote roaches as these horrible 28 days later zombies, when really they're just human beings. And Stripe finds that his mass begins to malfunction, so the first time he goes into these settlements to rid him of these roaches that are just killing human beings for no reason, he starts seeing them as they really are. He has to go back to his command to try to explain this. He's fighting these roaches, and then all of a sudden it turns into a terrified woman that's bending down, begging for her life. These roaches are people that are deemed genetically or socially undesirable by this authoritarian government, so they want to rid them of the undesirables. And Charlie Brooker's writing is always so good. Stripe comes to a moral quandary. Very similar, at least it reminded me, of episode 2 of season 1, 15 Million Merits, where the main character is given a choice, just like Stripe is given at the end. Does he want to go along with this authoritarian government, or does he want to fight it like a real rebel? And Charlie Brooker gives the same answer for both episodes. The fact of the matter is, Stripe actually decides to just go along with it. And I love the fact that he does this, because the situation that they're put into, it's just more realistic that you would go along with it. Similar to something like The Matrix. Do you actually want to live in this fictional world? Or do you want to live in the real world, when the real world sucks? And so people, even though they wouldn't want to admit it, a lot of them would choose to live in this fictional world. So Stripe gets his mind erased and gets his mass fixed, so now that he sees these roaches as horrendous human beings again, and he can continue on his adventures as a soldier. Now, he doesn't necessarily get the glorious ending that you get at 15 Million Merits, where it seems like he really gets pushed to the upper echelon of society. We see him go back to his house, and it's actually a very middle-class living. I think they're trying to make the point that it's not like he gets a giant castle just for agreeing for his implant to be changed back to the way it was. He gets to live a middle-class soldier's lifestyle. They also do, since this is now on Netflix, they could show nudity and boobies. But we're on YouTube, so we can't show nudity or boobies. And they throw that in there and show that he has a wife or girlfriend at home. That's very good looking. That's very beautiful. That's always wanting him to sleep with him. She also multiplies, so I'm not sure if they're trying to say she has threesomes or something. I don't know. But anyways, this is something that he's looking forward to. And if he gets his mind wiped, who knows what happens next. He might get thrown into jail. He might just get outcast to society with these roaches. You really can't trust this authoritarian government. They sort of have a gun to your head. Hey, what do you want to choose? You want to go back to being a soldier? Or, we could throw you in the gulag. But it also gives him something to look forward to. He does have someone that he actually does dream about and cares about. And we get to see, it's a nice ending where he goes back to his middle-class home with his wife. If she's even real. She's probably not. So I think Men Against Fire is a solid episode. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. As I mentioned before, it's one of the more action-packed episodes. It reminds me of something like Metalhead that we'll cover later on. So if you thought this series was getting too sentimental, this one has people getting shot at, heads being exploded, people stabbed. Oh, and did I mention boobies? Big ones. So we have some fun trivia at the top. It says the original ending was conceived as a military homecoming parade, which is revealed to be not real, similar to the final ending, in which returning soldiers are indefinitely and unknowingly under control of the mass implant. Now, let me take a wild guess why they didn't do that, and they decided to go with a simpler, let's just have him walking towards his home, and then have his girl, frolic in the garden, because it was cheaper. A huge military parade, and they do show a military base in here. That was filmed at Silverstone Racetrack in North Hampshire, England. I actually thought that might have been a real military base. It looks like the one from Starship Troopers that's kind of outside, so it is a bit makeshift, but I thought it looked pretty good. And it does reference 15 Million Merits, where someone mockingly sings, "Anyone who knows what love is will understand," which it mentions is a common song in the series, but it first appeared in 15 Million Merits, which makes me also think this is referencing the ending of that. Maybe these are two sister episodes, 15 Million Merits, taking place way farther in the future in this one. Or Charlie Brooker just likes to do callbacks to previous episodes. That's it for this one. Next up is Hated in the Nation, and that'll be all for Season 3. We'll start Season 4 with USS Callister, the Star Trek episode. And Hated in a Nation is a literal full-length, an hour-and-a-half movie that deals with cancel culture and bees. Check out our playlist for the other series we're covering. We're doing every single episode of Black Mirror, every single episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, Twilight Zone, Mystery Science Theater 3000. We already covered Monsters, Fear Itself, Pet Shop of Horrors, Cowboy Bebop, Tales from the Dark Side. Thanks a lot.